Siomra Beag.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the tiny room. Welcome back to Siomra Beag. I am the Michael of Michaelandbenjaminspodcast, and I am joined, as always, in the tiny room for the 107th time by Ireland's most sensitive man. I mean sensitive in the sense that he won't say things that are inappropriate, not sensitive as in that his feelings are easily hurt. It's Benjamin.
What does that mean? What are you saying?
Good. Very. You've turned it around on me.
It's a little bit of everything. It's a little bit of everything.
Ladies and gentlemen, Benjamin is claiming this week to be ill, but that's a ruse to hide the fact that he's hungover. And I am suffering from an allergic reaction to plant bloody reproductive juices.
Oh.
So you're going to have to explain. I suppose they're not juices, are they?
That's the worst description of pollen ever.
Plant sperm. I'm allergic to plant sperm, and there's lots of plant sperm in the air. So you're going to have to bear with us a little bit today and put up with a bit of a snotty-nosed podcasting.
The music for the podcast. We don't actually have anything music, but I hope someone will mix them up for us. I don't wanna name any names. Rachel, I hope it's Rachel.
Yeah, you bloody got me. You got me, man. I wasn't expecting that at all. Ben.
Yes.
Speaking of things that we weren't expecting at all.
A podcast on a Sunday morning that we do every week.
We do that every week, Ben. It doesn't matter if there's lots of hay fever and we're tired. Benjamin, bloody, the TV show Legion is bloody back.
Yes.
Neither of us have seen it, though.
Neither of us have bothered.
So that's the news.
That's it. That's all we've got.
It's back. Charles Xavier is in it this year.
Really?
Yeah, but played by an actor.
By an actor?
Yes, and
not Jimmy Mack?
No, Jimmy Mack's not in it.
Oh.
I still think probably the best bit of X-Men related thing on television, so I will watch it later on this evening after I've edited these podcasts.
I've no doubt you will.
After I've edited these podcasts too.
I don't understand.
I'm not setting up a bit.
All right, okay.
You know, we do two podcasts now.
Oh, yes. These podcasts too. You were Shakespeareaning.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Okay.
Hither and fro, we will do two podcasts yon.
These podcasts too will edited be.
Exactly. No, that's more Yoda, I feel.
Upon the moor.
Upon the moor. No, now you've gone into like... What's the guy who wrote Shakespeare? Not Shakespeare. Who wrote bloody what's his name? Long coat, funny hat, pipe.
Heathcliff.
Solves a crime.
Holmes.
Sherlock Holmes. Who wrote Sherlock Holmes?
Sherlock Holmes. Arthur Conan Doyle.
Yeah, you got more into Arthur Conan Doyle. I feel he was more obsessed with moors.
Upon the moor.
Wasn't Shakespeare more about like a bloody mysterious island or something?
Well, unless we talk about the Witches 3 who hatched a plot upon the moor for Macbeth.
Oh, for Macbeth, of course.
Yes, of course. Classic Macbeth. Welcome back to Shakespearean Ramble, the new podcast from Siomra Beag Productions.
Have you noticed we're both better at saying Siomra Beag Productions now?
It's taken a while.
It's not the easiest thing in the world to say, Ben.
It's taken a while.
It is not the easiest thing in the world to say. Anyway, Ben, look, we haven't seen it yet, so it's probably good, but we haven't seen. Speaking of things, though, that we have seen.
Go on.
But are yet again, henceforth and hither, back in yon projection room. I better stop that.
That was a great soliloquy. Nailed it.
Bloody Avengers Infinity. I'm so sorry. There's plant sperm everywhere. Avengers Infinity War, Ben, has got a re-release. It's happened.
Yeah, and they've confirmed that the women will be left in. They're not using the coveted internet cut
what
with
was it called?
no
The
women.
Cook cut?
the no women, less gay shit cut of Avengers. And thank God for that, Michael. Thank God for that.
You know, one of the reasons that they are so confident in not changing it is because they haven't changed it at all.
No, they've added an end credit sequence.
No.
Oh, no, they haven't?
No. What they've done, Ben, is they've added a little introduction with a deleted scene. Yeah, a new tribute to Stan Lee.
Oh, fuck.
And then a preview to Spider-Man, which we're going to see on Wednesday anyway. I'm not really thrilled.
Right, I call bollocks then. Senseless cash grab.
I mean,
it all, as you so eloquently pointed out earlier in the week, Michael, all Hollywood is cash grab.
Exactly, Ben, is where I was going with that. So I don't really agree with the phrase a senseless cash grab.
A cash grab.
Yeah, I think senseless
A blatant
cash grab is exactly, there you go. That makes a lot more sense, because the sense of a cash grab is to grab that cash. grab it,
cash.
grab it, get it.
Join us next week on our new podcast, Grab That Cash.
No, we can't do any more podcasts, Ben. We're too busy. Benjamin. Yes, that's pretty good though, actually. I like that. Grab that cash. It's the Johnny Cash fan cast, where one of us dresses up as Johnny Cash and the other one chases them around
Tries to catch him.
I'm quite quick though, Ben. I'm surprisingly nimble. I don't think you'd catch me.
I don't have a shot. But find out next week on Grab That Cash.
Ladies and gentlemen, this week I found out that Ben can do 100 push-ups in a row, and I have to say I was quite surprised. Because, I'm always making fun of him, but apparently he has got some upper body strength. What the hell are we doing?
I also saw something else this week, Michael. Now, are we going to go see the Infinity War re-release?
I probably am not now, Ben, to be honest.
It's put you off now, because you've seen it 3 times already?
I've seen it thrice upon the moor on yon moon is fulleth. But
this is the rambliest podcast
I'm so sorry. Ben... Look, I've seen it thrice, but not because I've seen it thrice that I won't go see it again. I'm not going to go. I'm not going to not go see it. Yeah, that makes sense. I'm not going to not go see it out of some sort of spite because I don't feel
You're
what they're
not a
offering.
spiteful fanboy.
It's not that I don't feel what they're offering is up to scratch, up to par, up to scratch.
Nailed
the other way of saying that.
Nailed it.
It's not that. It's just that. It's not offering enough for me to go back because it's 3 hours and I'm busy.
And you don't have 3 hours
I
in a
don't
week
have
at the
3
moment.
hours, Ben. I do not have 3 hours. I have to make 7 or 8 different podcasts.
Yeah.
I have to get a Johnny Cash costume.
Join us next week on our new YouTube channel, Behind the Mic, with Mike.
We met a lovely man called Mike at Comic-Con last weekend.
Oh, what a man. Charming to boot.
Very nice man.
He can't sew worth a damn, though.
He can't sew worth a damn. Yeah. Nice man. Look, check out our bloody Comic-Con video. What did you call it in the end, Ben?
Comic-Con Ireland,
Comic-Con
2019.
Some fine editing, Ben.
2019.
Some
Thank
fine
you very
editing,
much.
I felt.
I did it in between push-ups.
I thought you did a push-up with a hand clap, but you just edited. Oh, that's quite impressive.
I would be very impressed if I could do that too. It was a week for surprising Mick here on the podcast.
It was.
Ladies and gentlemen. But go check out our new video. There's some very charming people interviewed about a bloody cosplay they did.
Ben,
go on.
Speaking of things that weren't surprising, though.
Go on.
Marvel's big summer event has kind of somewhat wrapped up.
What was Marvel's? Oh!
War of the Realms.
War of the Realms, a very Shakespearean title.
Yes.
Upon the moor.
Upon the moor doth hammer yon smiteth. Ben, I know Shakespeare like the back of my hand.
Like the back of my...
I'm like a young Isolde.
Like the back of my wrist feet. Anyway, hand. Never mind. It was a terrible joke.
That was the worst joke.
War of the Realms.
Yeah.
Wrapped up. Elmer Fudd did a cameo appearance. War of the Realms.
It was, Ben... It was it was Jason Aaron's. We've said this in a kind of somewhat derogatory sense. We've said this a few times. That it was Jason Aaron's, Robert Hickman's End of the Universe. You know what I mean?
Jonathan Hickman's.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, which one's Robert Hickman? Are you confusing Kirkman?
Yeah, I am. Yeah, Jonathan Hickman. It was Jason Aaron's, Jonathan Hickman's. What was Jonathan Hickman's thing called? I know we have this conversation every time we talk about this.
It was the big Fantastic Four or spinny outy.
No,
thingy,
the universe is all smashing together.
Oh,
what was that called again? Endgame? Infinity War?
Battle World.
No, Battle World was the result.
Oh.
What was the event where the universe ended?
We do this all the time.
I know, we forget this every goddamn week.
Anyway, it was a Hickman-inspired...
Yeah, it was Jason Aaron. He's been sowing seeds for this for years.
Yeah.
But unlike whatever that was called, which resulted in a reboot of such... A reboot in
Marvel
a sense.
Now.
Was it Marvel Now?
I think that was the
Battle
reboot,
World, post-Battle World, and whatever happened there. This more just kind of re-established the status quo.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, a classic. Oh, we've come full circle. Oh, yeah. Let's just not do anything.
Not a full circle. Thor lost an eye. Spoilers, by the way, for the end of War of the Realms.
Or any Avengers movie since 2017.
Well, look, Ben, I'll list some things that happened in the War of the Realms, and you tell me what you think might have inspired this change in the status quo. Thor lost an eye.
Yes.
Right. Mjolnir is back.
Because we can't have that hammer gone for too long.
Thor is worthy again.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Jane Foster is no longer a Thor.
Okay. Good, because we don't want women in our comics, do we?
Get rid of them.
Get rid of women.
Bloody
them out. Women in comics, eh?
Get them out of here. Women, gays, get them all out of here.
Less of that gay shit. Happy Pride, everybody.
Look, Ben, remember I said earlier about sensitivity?
It was funny because I'm the opposite of what you described me as.
Yeah, okay, that's good. There's often humour in the unexpected.
Irony.
Yeah.
But anyway, sorry, go on. Keep listing the things that haven't changed.
Now you've said irony, though. All I can think of is ebony and irony living together.
Ebony and ivory.
No, irony.
They come together next week in our brand new podcast, Ebony and Irony, where we take a look at black culture and how people write black characters.
Oh, Jesus Christ. In unexpected ways. Ben, shut up, please.
No.
Jane Foster is no longer Thor.
Okay, good.
The Valkyries are wiped out.
Oh, well, so what you're saying here...
Yeah.
What you're saying here...
What I'm saying is
that Jason Aaron has just watched the Avengers movies since 2017.
Or the film Thor Ragnarok.
And just taken it.
So the Valkyries are wiped out.
Okay.
And I thought they were going to make way to find one kind of ethnically ambiguous Valkyrie so they could introduce the comics Valkyrie to the film, but they don't do that. Jane Foster ends up, Ben, she finds the ultimate Thor hammer, gets a few last swings of it, then it splits apart and reconstitutes as some sort of gauntlets or vambraces or something on her arms that look a bit... Who was the comic character who had things that could turn into weapons? A bit Green Lantern-y, I suppose.
Yeah, you had those ones.
It looks like... No, there's a few comic characters like that.
Nanotech Stark is real.
So it looks like they're magic weapons that can turn into any sort of weapon, and she's the last Valkyrie now. And that seems to be the... So we're getting a new Jane Foster as a Valkyrie.
I like Jane Foster as Thor.
I like Jane Foster as Jane Foster.
Yeah, well, okay, fair enough.
You know what
I didn't... I don't know, I enjoyed Jason Aaron's Jane Foster Thor run. I thought it was an interesting way to deconstruct a very beloved character without doing too much damage. Worthy Thor is nice to see again, but...
There is a moment where She-Hulk... Shulk. It was a weird week of comics because Avengers... The main Avengers comic, the War of the Realms comic, and the Thor comic all showed, classic bloody company-wide crossover.
Yeah.
They all showed the ending from multiple perspectives.
Great. Classic.
So we saw a lot of the same things happening over and over again.
But with a different speech bubble.
Exactly, another person's perspective. Yeah. It was weird. I don't really know what happened in each one. I think... Pardon me, I sound very snotty.
So do I.
I think, not snotty as in like... difficult to deal with.
A snob, no.
I think, Ben, that I've forgotten what I was going to say. I think that if you were just reading the main War of the Realms comic, it wouldn't have been very good because it appeared to be completely random.
It's a very sharp wrap-up.
Well, just things happened and you're like, did this happen? Did I read this? Or did this happen in a comic that was only available in Midtown?
Is this my imagination?
You know what I mean? I think it was the main series was too dependent on reading the rest of it. Anyway, where I was going was, there was a good bit with She-Hulk, where she is fighting Ulik, King of the Trolls.
Classic.
And he says, as he's being beaten up, we come in mid-conversation, and he's saying, Thor is his name, not a title. So, and then she starts hitting them. So a little dig at the internet trolls, I think, who didn't like Jane Foster becoming Thor because Thor is his name.
And so Ulik was a troll.
Did you get it?
The troll.
It's subtle, isn't it?
King of the throat. No, King of the Troll. King of the Throat. No, never mind.
No, you're not going.
But yes, I like that. Is She-Hulk and Thor still snogging? Are they still?
They haven't in a while, I think. But
they'll get one in sometime.
It was a good She-Hulk issue actually of Avengers because she's a savage She-Hulk now.
Yeah, she's got some issues.
She's a Hulk really, rather than a She-Hulk.
Because we can't have
her Hulk.
Because we can't have Horror Hulk in the... Horror Hulk is scarring for many, many reasons.
I think they just call her Hulk in it. But there's a good one where she's having a psychological battle in her own mind, Ben, and it's... what's her name? Betty Ross? No, it's not Betty Ross.
No, it's Jennifer Walters.
Jennifer Walters and sexy kind of business suit She-Hulk.
Yeah, classic courtroom She-Hulk.
And Big Mad Hulk all kind of in a courtroom together. And it's good.
That'd be interesting.
It's a good little scene. But look, the War of the Realms wasn't a very thrilling conclusion. It was a bit of everything wrapped up back where it started with a new status quo, Ben. I'm giving you a little wink there. Loki survives.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
He's the king of the frost giants now.
Lads.
Yeah, sure. Look,
Sure listen.
wasn't the most exciting thing. Hold on, I've got a good segue. It wasn't the most exciting thing that happened this weekend.
But what was?
What was
Michael?
then? There you go. Did you like that? That's a good
It's
segue.
very good.
Wasn't it?
Very good. I don't know what was the most exciting thing that happened this weekend. I thought we were going for.
Oh, we didn't do that.
We didn't do this.
Oh God,
Look at
sorry,
this.
Buddy Ben. I was spinning my wheels there. I was
Yeah,
filling.
you
To be
were-
honest
you
with
were
you,
filling.
I forgot we
The
had.
most exciting thing to happen to Ben this week because Michael's just not here today. Look, it's plant sperm. Michael doesn't like it. It doesn't like him. It's a war of the sperm. Plant sperm.
Sometimes I blast you with my own sperm.
Oh,
It doesn't
for
appear, it doesn't appear to have much effect.
Join us next
Oh,
week.
there
God. Oh God.
Go on.
I went to see Toy Story 4.
You did. You invited me,
On-
and I
on
said no, Ben.
Tuesday.
I've got a case of coward's blood.
Coward's blood. He's come down with a serious case of coward's blood and plant sperm allergy.
Yeah.
Bloody good, Michael.
Was it good?
Very good. We'll do no spoilers because I feel like it's something you'll want to see, Michael. I feel
Ben,
like it's
I'm going to
something-
tell you a little truth here, a little home secret.
Go on.
Toy Story 3. Ben, as you know, I quite like toys.
You do. You're a fan.
Yeah, and it's probably some sort of psychological issue related to childhood, but I cried in Toy Story 3,
Yes.
and that is the last time I cried.
I hazard a guess you will cry in Toy Story 4.
And that's why I didn't go see it.
Yeah, because you couldn't. Yeah, he made up lots of excuses. He was like, "Oh, people, you know, I have stuff to do.
People need me, Ben.
People need me."
People need me.
And
I have
I
responsibilities.
was there going, "Coward's blood," and Michael was like, "No, no."
I don't like things being turned around.
And yeah, it's not nice, is it? Not nice being bashed over the head with a phrase that's senseless.
Coward's blood colopy.
Coward's blood colopy. Oh, it does roll off the tongue
does,
very
doesn't it?
nicely, doesn't
Ben,
it?
anyway, so here's the secret I was trying to reveal to you.
Go on.
The secret wasn't that I cried at Toy Story 3, because everyone knows that. My good lady friend, Ben, you'll know her from being over there, and being the. Can we reveal that she's the voice of our little intro of Shomer Bjug?
I don't know why you're asking me the question
We
live
can,
on
yeah.
the podcast.
Anyway, that's her. Ben, she doesn't like a horror film,
Oh,
and I like a horror film.
you do. You love a horror film.
And before you came along, Ben, and I bullied you into going to see horror films with me, she had to go see horror films with me.
I do get bullied into watching horror films, and I don't like it.
You have to for the podcast. But she will read the story of a horror film before she goes to see it.
That's pretty smart.
So then she knows if it's going to be too horrific.
And she knows to avoid.
Exactly. And she'll often do that about a film where there's an animal in it to find out that the animal dies.
Oh,
Like if an animal is a main character,
yeah,
she needs to know if that animal's going to survive before she can go see it.
because it's too traumatic otherwise.
And I did the same with Toy Story 4, so I already knows what happens.
So we're going to do full spoilers from here.
I think so. That
Full
was a
spoilers from here.
very long intro to why we
Yeah,
do.
you could have just said that. But anyway, full spoilers from here then. If you don't want to hear about Toy Story 4, tune out now and jump back in about 3 minutes.
Or just fast forward.
Or just fast forward.
There's a time code in the description, Ben. I always do a time code.
You are a time code champion.
Yeah.
Look, it's very good, Michael. I think it's probably better than Toy Story 3.
I disagree.
I think. No,
I haven't seen it. So.
I think you're welcome to disagree. I think in terms of hitting the right notes, in terms of the sense of humour, in terms of tying things together, they probably shouldn't have had a 4. I don't really understand why 4 exists. I think you could have happily left that ambiguous happy ending at the end of Toy Story 3. But in terms of a character development, in terms of an arc,
Yeah.
we definitely get to see something very special happen with Woody. Yeah, it's really interesting to see him go on this journey. It's very much Woody the movie. It's not Toy Story in the sense that you've come to expect it.
There's not much buzz.
There's not much buzz at all.
There wouldn't be much Mr. Potato Head. Because his actor died.
Yeah, he's not in it at all. Not really. All the classics are not really
Slinky Dog.
there. Slinky Dog is there, but not in any great sense. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the greatest hits are not there.
The Army Men.
The Army Men are not there.
Oh.
They're not in it. The monkeys are back. The
Little monkey
chaining
things.
monkeys.
Yeah.
Those guys are back. We get to see what happened to Bo Peep finally. There's a fascinating transition. I have no doubt that Bo Peep has been rewritten as a modern strong woman, and they do a wonderful job. She's a pretty great character in this.
Oh, good.
Very interesting. Very interesting. I'm sure there will be a re-edited cut of Toy Story 4 with less gay shit and less women and
Good.
no Brie Larson. Absolutely
Good.
no Brie Larson.
Absolutely no Brie Larson. Sorry for edit.
But Keanu Reeves knocks it out of the park as Crash Kaboom.
He is breathtaking.
He is breathtaking. You're breathtaking. It's look. I really, really enjoyed it. It hits all those classic notes of abandoned toys that the Toy Story franchise can't seem to get away with. The horrific consequences of a world with sentient toys.
It's horrible.
It also creates a brand new question.
Go on.
Which is, if a child decides to invest interest in something as a toy, it automatically gains sentience.
Oh no.
Which is just
makes children monsters.
Makes children
cruel
into
gods.
monsters, cruel gods that just full of whim and no see-through,
fickle, capricious
cruel
gods.
Yeah. So it's very interesting to see all that. It also, creates a whole strange world for sex toys. I don't know what those guys are going through, but it's dark.
Oh no.
So there's a dark side universe. Toy Story 5. Put me back in.
Oh, Jesus. Ben, I'm sorry. You can probably see from my face that I'm only half listening to you.
Yeah, you are, yeah.
Because you have just triggered my imagination there completely by making the joke about editing Brie Larson out of films she's not even in. That concept has just tickled me right on the funny bone. I would love some fucking internet basement troll being given the task of editing Brie Larson out of every film. He's like, she's not even in this one. It's like, just do it.
You have to watch the whole film, edit her out.
Edit her out.
That potato looks mildly like Brie Larson.
That would be very good.
So look, I would recommend it. I think it's the first one I've seen that is not for children at all.
Editing Brie Larson out of Avatar. That'd be brilliant.
That'd take a long time.
Yeah.
Or we could have someone editing Brie Larson sneakily into them and then just to piss off that troll.
They're nemesis.
And they don't, but the best part is he doesn't edit them into every one. So the guy still has to watch every single film to make sure.
You could probably use Facebook deepfake technology.
Oh, you absolutely could.
And just replace every character with Brie Larson.
You absolutely could.
That'd be amazing.
That'd be very
entertaining. Ben, you've dropped a bombshell there and said it's a Toy Story not for children.
I think it's definitively not for children. It's for the original fans of Toy Story 1.
Who are bloody middle-aged adults now.
But that's exactly what it is.
1999?
It's
1994?
1994. The year my brother was born, that was 24 years ago as of August.
Wow.
Yes, it's mad. So you're very much looking at people who grew up with these characters. And I think for a lot of people,
yes,
while it was very emotionally resolving for us to see the end of Toy Story 3 where he's left with a new thing and the cycle renews and that kind of thing. Of life.
What?
And it moves. I don't know.
Yeah, that's nothing horrible. Keep going. Keep spinning.
So I think this one is very much what happens to Woody. I think people felt they wanted to see more Woody in their lives. More Woody.
People love Tom Hanks.
They do. Tom, what a guy!
If Tom Hanks was Keanu Reeves' dad, we wouldn't need any other families.
The internet could stop.
Yeah,
we could just call it a day. I really enjoyed it. The people I went to see it with. Really enjoyed it. The cinema was packed. I was in my first packed cinema in years, Michael.
Ben, we went to see Infinity Endgame and there were literally no seats.
I was in my first packed cinema in years, Michael. And no, it's the first, outside of an Infinity War hype machine.
Okay.
I think it's probably the first time I've been in a really packed cinema on a Tuesday Eve.
Godzilla, Ben.
Tuesday Eve. That wasn't packed.
The four of us were sitting there.
It wasn't packed.
Is the film even on?
Yeah, it was just a shit film. Don't go to see Godzilla. Go to see Toy Story 4. I thoroughly recommend it. It has 2 thumbs up for me. Crash Kaboom. They managed to do a Keanu Reeves without overdoing a Keanu Reeves, which I respect.
Crash Kaboom an unnecessary kind of Buzz Lightyear replacement?
A little bit. With a little bit extra thrown in. I'm not going to spoil anything on that one because I think a lot of the humour is dependent on being there at the time.
All right.
As far as character development goes, as far as a tight story, great. Just a great film to watch. Wonderful callbacks, no overdone humour. A real antidote to the shitty animation that comes out a lot for kids now where they just bash a joke on the head until it bleeds out.
Bloody Emoji Story.
Bloody Minions, bloody Emoji Story, bloody anything by Illumination lately. They really don't bash a joke too much. There's some heartfelt stuff going through.
Your favourites are in it?
My favourites are in it. Who are my favourites?
Kevin Michael Key.
Keegan,
Jonathan Peele.
And Jonathan Peele. Oh my goodness. But anyway, that's what I went to do on Tuesday. Sure, go see it, lads.
All right, well then.
Bloody good film.
Bloody when it's on TV.
Bloody
I'm not
Carrot's
bloody crying in
Carrot's
cinema
blood
again.
fucking Carrot's blood.
If I do cry, it's because it's the hay fever.
Yeah, sure. Well, that's what you can blame it on, Michael. So you can go see it in the cinema.
Carrot's Blood Leonard doesn't roll like
No, it doesn't roll. No.
Benjamin Carrot's Blood.
I just say Bloody Leonard a lot of the time. Bloody Leonard.
Anyway, look, Ben. Shut up for a second. What sort of thing fills you with pride?
Lots of things fill me with pride. An all-inclusive city celebrating one particular facet of society is what fills me with pride.
Hooray!
This weekend, ladies and gentlemen, in Dublin, it is Pride weekend. So we thought today...
It's not called Gay Pride anymore.
No, it's just Pride.
Pride now.
Just Pride,
Yeah.
because there's lots of ways to... There's a whole gambit of identification.
I think you mean Gamut.
Gamut. There's a whole gamut, thank you.
The X-Men character Gambit.
Well, I think he might be. Is he ambiguously gay?
I think he's a bit of a bisexualist.
He probably should be, shouldn't he? He's now a charmer.
I think he is.
So it's a very good action figure, that one.
It is, isn't
I
it?
like the hair. But anyway, Pride is happening here in Dublin this weekend. So we've a big bloody Pride thing. And previously on this podcast, Michael, you and I have discussed burying your gays, which is
we
the
did a whole
trope
episode.
of murdering gays because they are
Deviant of some-
they're
in some way.
deviant in some sort of way. They're viewed as deviant in some sort of way.
They receive some sort of comeuppance. What was the name of that horrific law we learned about? The McCarthy law?
Oh yeah, McCarthyism law. That was...
No, it wasn't McCarthyism though, was it? It was some sort of law, some sort of code that said if you had a gay character, they had to get comeuppance.
Oh yeah, the moral, it was the moral movie law where a gay character could be featured, but they had to suffer some kind of thing for their deviant leanings. It's terrible. So instead of that, because it's Pride and we take pride, in gay characters and all that kind of thing, we're going to look at some of the good examples that we've had.
Hooray!
Over the years, Michael. And one of the ways we're going to do that, we have a wonderful video out now on the YouTube channel, Michael,
we're like major corporations.
We're like major corporations.
Going, we're into Pride.
If you take a look at the logo there, ladies and gentlemen, you realise it's all rainbow colours because we're cashing in.
You better do that.
We're cashing in. I'll do a quick gradient on our logo and stick it on the thumbnail today.
Very clever.
Pride cross promotion. On the upside, we're not like Smirnoff or Absolute Vodka because we do actually fully support gay rights.
Or on Garda Síochána.
On Garda Síochána.
They've rebranded 2 Garda cars with Pride.
Oh, goodness.
It's part of the reason that there's a kind of a secondary Pride march happening.
Counter Pride.
Not Counter Pride. That's where all the people who
that's
where all the people who look like me
I
go
to because I feel insecure.
There is a kind of back to the roots Pride.
Roots Pride. Stonewall Pride.
As you know, Ben, Pride used to be a protest march.
It did. Stonewall.
And now major corporations, the police, Guinness, small to medium podcasts, hitching their trailer onto the gay pride thing,
onto the gay wagon,
and exactly. And a lot of people, possibly the people who were in at the ground floor, for whom Pride was about, you can't walk down the street without being beaten up.
Yes,
they're not happy.
A serious issue
that the likes of the police, for example,
who traditionally were not supportive of gay rights,
not terribly supportive of gay rights, have hitched their. I don't really have a stance on this, Ben. I've gone down this rabbit hole now.
I don't mind, because as you know, Michael, I love to dig down. No, it's very interesting to see, and they are emerging in 2 different ways. In Dublin this weekend, it was the Rosie Hackett Bridge, which hosted the Back to the Roots Pride movement, with far more political leanings as towards promoting rights in other countries that maybe don't have as many as they have here in Dublin.
How noble.
How noble. Very noble. Good turnout to it too, as well. I have heard some criticism of Pride currently in Dublin as to being a Paddy's Day too.
Yeah.
Where many people simply take it as an excuse to go drinking in the streets,
yeah.
Which is quite frankly true in certain cases.
Yeah.
It's still an important weekend. It's still important to do that kind of thing. And to honour that, Michael, that's what we're doing today. We're going to take a look at those positive characters that we've come across.
To be fair though, Ben, I was just thinking there, I don't think I've ever heard, maybe this is wrong, but I don't think I've ever heard about the Irish police being known for gay bashing.
I'm sure it happens.
Maybe. I don't know.
Look,
Ben, we've gone down this rabbit hole without a point to make or information on our side.
We do this all the time, ladies and gentlemen. You will recall that Michael and I are 2 white males sitting in a room.
2 bloody idiots.
We do identify as heterosexual, I believe.
Do you?
Shock to you, I know. But, so, look, we're not experts.
No.
Pinch of salt.
Anyway, look, Ben, the whole point here is, rather than the last time we talked about gay characters, where we talked about it from in a slightly negative light,
frankly,
well, not really from our perspective, but the fact that gay characters are traditionally mistreated or seen as deviant or have to get some sort of comeuppance. This week, because it's Pride and we're hitching to the wagon, we're going to talk about a positive representation of gay characters in popular culture. Huzzah!
Positive gays.
Yeah.
But we're definitely going to do that, and it's going to be great. So we decided we start with kind of an ambiguously gay duo, and And we were chatting, as I said, when we were cross-promoting there a little bit earlier, we were chatting in our video on cosplay with two people who were cosplaying
Friends
as
of the pod.
Cora and Asami, friends of the pod, Without a Stitch and Fractured Fantasies.
Yeah, Meg and Nola is their real
Meg and
names.
Nola
They're
in
not
their
secret.
in real names. And they were cosplaying as Cora and Asami, who have kind of become a fan favourite, I suppose.
Hashtag
in terms
Korasami.
of Korasami, hashtag Korasami.
Ben, I didn't know because I've only seen a couple of episodes of The Last Airbender.
That's hilarious to me, Michael, because I really feel like it's a series that you would quite enjoy.
A friend of the pod, Shane, did a very good Aang costume many years ago.
Really?
Yeah, he was a gigantic tiny child.
That's amazing.
It was pretty good.
Can we please get a photo of that somewhere and put it on the pod?
I'll try and track one down.
That would be amazing.
Anyway, go on. Tell us about Korasami, because I have no idea.
It comes from the follow-on series, the sequel series to Avatar: The Last Airbender, and it is The Legend of Korra.
We're going to have to point out that in the Ireland, bender is a derogatory term for homosexuals.
Yeah, that's something we should probably say.
It's a bit old-fashioned. I don't know if it's terribly mean-spirited. I think these days it's more often said in jest.
I think it's often said in jest. I don't know whether that's okay, Michael. I don't know whether we're supposed to ban these words. Again, we are two straight white men.
Look, we don't have any opinions. Don't worry about us.
Don't worry about us. If you take offence to this, we were probably being thick. You can just write it off as that. But here in Ireland, being a bender is a derogatory term for being gay.
Yeah.
In The Legend of Korra, it's not.
No.
It's a distinction of your talent. You have an elemental talent. You can bend earth, wind, fire, or water. Those are your three choices. Traditionally, they were baddies. If you were a firebender, those were the bad guys in the original Avatar. They're so fiery.
Yeah.
So fiery. But in The Legend of Korra, everybody's equal again. Yay.
Oh, good.
Sort of. Now we have kind of an interesting Marxist reading of what would happen if they were benders, because benders are the elite in society. The various elemental benders are elites in society, and they are facing a backlash from the proletariat. The non-benders. This is going to be a tough podcast. They're facing a backlash from the non-benders. But that's not what we're here to talk about, Michael.
Oh, is it
what
not?
we're here to talk about is something that fans became enamored with as they were watching the series. There is another female character outside of Korra, the Avatar at this time. And it's
outside
Asami.
of her.
And outside of the main female character, there's another female character.
Right.
And her name is Asami. And Asami and Korra seem to have a very wink, nudge, possible relationship.
Oh.
And this all came to a head. Now, it was never officially confirmed in canon. So what I mean by that is it was never officially confirmed within the course of the show. However, the show ended with Korra and Asami, and spoilers for a show that came out in 2011. I think it was 2011.
I think it was more recent.
More recent. But let's say 3 years ago. Let's say that, because I don't mind putting my foot in it as usual. And what happened was Korra and Asami end the series by walking off into the spirit world, hand in hand, and they take a vacation. Just the two of us is the line used.
Ben, have they died?
No, it's a vacation.
You can just go to
the
go to the spirit world in this universe.
I think the Avatar can go to the spirit world in this universe, and I think she can take someone with her if she fancies. Spirits, I assume.
Is Aang not the Avatar?
Aang is gone. She's the descendant of... So the Avatar is an interesting concept in this world. The Avatar is the same being or the same energy that bounces from host to host. When one Avatar dies, the next takes his place.
Yeah.
So the Legend of Korra takes place after Aang has lived to the ripe old age of whatever. Okay.
Oh, it's hundreds of years later.
Hundreds of years. No, not hundreds of years. It's about...
Don't touch me, Ben.
It's about 100 years. It's Pride, Michael.
Stop it.
Happy Pride. It's about 100 years later, and we look at the descendants of the society, and Aang has basically transformed what was, I suppose, inspired by provincial Chinese culture at the time, like ancient China, is now a very modern, Victorian era China, where bending has been used to make the world a better place. Stop smiling when I say the word bending. And we look for the new Avatar in this one, and that's Korra. Korra has taken on the mantle of Avatar. She's the next chosen Avatar.
And is she a lesbian, or is she ambiguous? What is she? What's going on?
So I think one of the things that fans really like about Korra is that a romance subplot is not necessarily 100% necessary to the overall series.
Right.
She does have flirtations in the beginning with a very buff young man who takes a real shine to her.
How many push-ups can he do?
He can probably do about 100, like every good buff young man.
Good.
And you can edit videos. But yeah, so but that doesn't become the centerfold of the series. They manage to sidestep the traditional damsel in distress or man in distress, which seems to be a Mary Sue thing that we do these days, where that woman saved a man.
Yeah, stick him in the fridge.
How progressive. Let's fridge that man.
Yeah.
So they sidestepped all of that, and romance was not really a key thing, but there was flirtation between Asami and Thing, and many people jumped on. However, what makes this interesting, Michael,
Go on.
what makes this interesting
in your
is
opinion?
that the creators post-finale came out and officially said that yes, Asami and Korra were in a relationship.
They bloody J.R.R. Tolkien did. No, not J.R.R. Tolkien. What's her name?
J.K. Rowling.
J.K. Rowling.
Yeah, so I think, as you know, Michael, if it didn't happen in series, is it canon?
Is it?
Is it?
Is it though?
Is it though? So we don't know, but
that's J.K. Rowling.
They are a real fan favourite. But as you know, Michael, slash fiction in that style, where we put two characters together, is very common.
Goes back to Kirk and Spock.
Kirk and Spock getting it on in the transporter.
Transporter room, I think you would mean.
Whatever. It's Star Trek. I don't care. I'm not into that shit. But like, there are other examples here. Castiel and Dean from the Supernatural series are always quite often clipped together.
Yeah, but they're definitely not homosexual gentlemen, are they?
They might.
Are they?
We don't question.
Is that how it's
going to
end up?
No, it's not. Not at all. Series is ending in the next season, actually.
Oh, good.
Finally. What is it? 15 seasons
I think
now.
So. That's
Good Christ.
probably too many.
It's at least 10 too many. But yeah, so they were a fan favorite for a good long while.
How similar are they, Ben, to TV's first fantasy lesbian couple, maybe Winky Wink, Xena and Gabrielle?
I would say probably a healthier representation of that relationship.
Really?
With regards to, they're both independent women who exist outside of each other. One does not depend on the other. They frequently help each other throughout the series, and we see it develop as far more of a healthy, co-respecting, co-loving bond, as opposed to someone who is often rescued by the other.
Gabrielle's not helpless.
Is she not helpless?
No, she has a little stick and she can do a flip.
She's got a flip.
She can do a flip and kick a man in the head.
She can do a save herself flip.
Yeah, no, I think...
No, you're welcome to tear me apart here. I haven't seen much of...
Have you not seen much of...
My understanding
yes,
was that Gabrielle was quite often saved by the good lady Xena.
She was undoubtedly the sidekick. But no, I don't think so. I think, there's a reason Xena and Gabrielle were beloved lesbian icons.
They still are.
And still are. And like the first kind of, as far as I know, beloved lesbian icons. Because they help each other. They save each other. Like there is a bit where Xena's the physical one and Gabrielle's the emotional one.
Classic.
But, I don't think... I think you might have mischaracterized them there a little bit.
Well, then I'm happy to be corrected, Michael.
As a damsel. But Ben, having said that, I first watched Xena the Warrior Princess when I was about 9, and I didn't detect any lesbian undertones because I didn't know what lesbians were.
Look.
But I also wouldn't have detected any subtle romantic nudgy winkies between a man and a woman.
Young,
I was too young,
you were
Ben.
too young, Michael.
I was just watching people do a flip and kick a man in the head.
You were too young, Michael. It could never have worked. So... we were looking at stuff like that, and then that got us thinking, Michael. We started to think about We
were thinking about how could we edit Brie Larson out of the entire series.
And so now we're going to talk about how we did that. No, but we're not going to do that. What we are going to take a look at, Michael, instead is... we're going to take a look at some representations of positive gay characters on top of that, because they were kind of our lead into all this.
Yes.
One of the ones that occurred to me, Michael, while we were talking.
Go on.
One of my favourite gay representations.
Asami's not like a baddie, is she? And
you see, this is what it was. This was one of the interesting things that we did with The Legend of Korra, was we weren't sure if Asami was the baddie.
Because she looks a bit like a baddie.
Asami is very rich.
Oh.
So she was very much
Ben.
She was very much a bourgeois, but she was a rich non-bender. Who became a firebender, I think. But yeah, so it's an interesting thing that we kind of came across. But what I got thinking about, Michael, while we were chatting, was one of my favourite positive representations.
Yes.
Is Wallace from Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Ben, you son of a bitch. We talked about this. That's not on the list.
It's not on the list, yeah, no, but it occurred to me there while we were chatting. I quite like Wallace. I think he's a very healthy portrayal of a gay character.
Kieran Culkin.
He's a very normal man going about his normal day who happens to be gay.
The man who he seduces in that film is a friend of mine.
Sure, look now. Sure, look at him now.
Look at him now. No, he's not made much of it, I don't think.
Sure, look at him now.
Look at you
Look at him now. He's down the pub every Friday going, I was in a movie.
I was in Scott Pilgrim versus the
I
World.
was in Scott Pilgrim versus the World. I played a gay character. How progressive.
I like, Ben, the thing of, I don't know if this meme or trope has a name, but I like the thing of casually gay, where it's just a part of a character that's not the defining part of the character.
I think that's probably the healthiest way to portray gay characters in film.
Although, like, when you think about it, romances, everyone ends up in a relationship in TV.
That's how TV works.
Yeah.
We like to see romance take place.
Is that what it is?
It's aspirational.
Mm.
No, there's a comfort to knowing that even you, even
me,
even you can find romance. I don't know. We quite often, there's that traditional arc of nobody can love me, I'm a monster, or I don't deserve love. There's that really dark character trope, and then eventually one woman breaks her way through. And that can be quite a toxic trope, Michael, because it puts all the onus on a woman to support a broken man.
like the TV show Lucifer.
Like the TV show Lucifer, which has a very interesting representation with Eve. The new season, Michael, this isn't gay. This isn't on topic, Michael.
Well, then get off it. Endgame.
Gay.
There you go.
Join us on listing movies where gay characters appear.
Yeah.
No, there was a little bit of controversy this week, Michael, where I think the internet had a little go at the Russos for including a minor gay character at the beginning
Did
of.
the internet have a go?
Half the internet did, and half the internet praised it.
The internet. So fickle.
Polars, just polar opposites on every end. But I think what happened was one half of the internet has been praising this tiny 1 minute cameo.
Yeah.
The other half of the internet is going, shoehorning. They were shoehorning gay characters in. And I think Joe Russo came out and he's like, lads, the character was on it for a minute.
Yeah,
I just thought it'd be interesting to have a character portray his gay relationship moving on. I don't think you even for the minute and a half he's on screen, 40 of those seconds he does not mention the gender of his person. He's having an emotional lament at the fact that he wakes up without that person.
Yeah. Poor guy.
So I think the internet just kind of piled on.
Bloody internet.
Internet.
The first openly gay character in the MCU, is that right, Ben?
I think so. I think that's what he is. But I don't think we have to, again.
I think that's not including, obviously, the side stuff. Because Jerry Hogarth is quite clearly a lesbian in the Daredevil.
Oh, yeah.
Iron Fist.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Jessica Jones.
But Netflix
doesn't count.
Doesn't count. It's gone.
Jerry Hogarth is a terrible person.
Yeah, she's an awful person. But I think, again, that's important in terms of representation. I think very often when you show a gay character, there's a tendency to Mary Sue them to death, where you make them into this paragon of virtue and, just a good person because they're gay. And I don't think that's very fair to the gay community. I think that's a high standard.
I think some of them are pricks.
I think you're allowed to be, but I think you're allowed to be a prick and gay. I think that's okay.
There's a gay character in TV's best TV show currently, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Fuck's sake.
Because as you know, Gemma Simmons, the Doctor, has disappeared. She's disappeared off into space, Ben. And they needed a doctor of the weird, and they find an old S.H.I.E.L.D. agent who lost his husband and became an alcoholic.
Oh,
and now he's
that's very sad.
Yeah,
tortured gay trope.
And then, in a way, I suppose. But I mean, it's the usual trope in that type of TV show where they find
tortured male.
They find a kind of alcoholic and bring him back and say, "Look, we need you to do this job. Can you do it?" And he's become an alcoholic because he lost his partner, and in this case, it's a gentleman.
I've lost too many years. I can't go back.
Exactly.
Yeah, I love that trope. It's a terrible trope.
But look, it's good. It's good to always get a reference to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. in our favourite show.
I don't think that's. Don't you dare use the pronoun
show.
hour.
The podcast's favourite show. Favourite show of the podcast.
Don't you dare. But yeah, I think.
Yes.
I think it's great that we get so much representation of gay characters now.
Right.
But I think it's very important.
Go on.
Not to over-virtue that trope.
Good.
So I think the Joe Russo trope of this man...
Just a normal man.
Just getting on with his life. He's a perfectly normal man. It's not his whole identity. Because I think in some cases there probably is a lot of pressure on gay people to identify, especially around periods of pride, as openly gay. I think there is a lot of kind of... I don't know if you call it closet shaming. Would we call it closet shaming?
Mine are from IKEA.
That's okay. That's a perfectly reasonable closet. But I think what a lot of people would feel pressure is to openly show their gayness, especially around this time of year. Whereas for many people, their sexual preference is simply not their personality. It's simply not something that they think about on a day-to-day basis. I doubt many gay people wake up and go, gay.
I'm feeling very gay
I'm
today.
feeling very gay today. I don't feel that that's actually an accurate representation of how gay people are. Now, I could be wrong.
Could be.
If anybody
Often
wants
are.
to let me know, often am.
Yeah.
But in this case, I hazard a guess
Go on.
that there's probably, not the way things are done. And I think it's important. I think in some representations, it's important to see gay characters treated perfectly normally.
Ben, who's this bloody mustachioed gentleman here?
Yeah, so that got me thinking about homoerotic representations
I
of
bet you
gayness
it did.
and positive masculinity in different series. And one of the ones that jumped out to me, because one of the ones that always sticks out to me, is bloody Alex Louis Armstrong from Full Metal Alchemist. He's Major Armstrong, and he's a very big muscular man. He's a metal bender. But the Alchemists, for anyone who's not a big fan,
Or me, who's
of
never seen
anime,
a single
who's never
episode.
seen Full Metal Alchemist. Alchemists are people who have an ability to warp the natural world,
Like
in
benders.
whatever way. Very, very similar to that. I would hazard a guess that much of Avatar was probably
Avatar's not an
inspired
anime, though, is it?
by-
So I always forget that.
It is Western anime.
Okay.
Through style, trope, etc. It is very much a Western anime. Very good, Michael. I'm surprised you haven't watched it.
But I don't have time.
You're gonna have to get time. Just stick it on. Just get a look. Get your eyeballs over it. Go on, roll them over.
I'm about to have 2 podcasts.
But anyway, Major Alex Louis Armstrong is a metal bender. He's called the Strong Arm Alchemist because he's a big buff man.
Oh, good.
He's a big buff man.
Right.
And he has very big twinkly eyes and a curly little jerry curl. You can see it there. And
I
a
can
big
see him, yeah.
moustache.
Definitely a big
He
moustache.
is very much kind of a representation of a leather daddy.
He is
Michael.
a bit, yeah.
He's a representation of a leather daddy. A leather daddy, for the listeners,
Yeah.
is symbolic of the late 70s, mid 80s gay culture of big buff men
Yeah.
in leather. They
Yeah.
often had mustaches.
Yeah.
It's quite often
working in a power plant.
working in a power
a steel
plant.
mill.
It's very often referenced as the darker side of gay culture because leather daddies often engage in sadomasochism.
Oh.
But the leather daddy culture is dying out.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's an interesting. You can watch a documentary on the
I
interwebs.
don't have time, Ben.
It's for the listeners, Michael. It's
Oh.
not for you. But he's a representation of this, and he's very often he uses his masculinity as kind of a tool. He's not openly gay, but does engage in frequent homoerotic things. But is also a very
What type of homoerotic things?
he has a muscle off with another male character who has similar muscles, and they communicate through muscle flexing.
Oh.
This is how they gain each other's respect. Both of them have a
Good.
flex off, not unlike you and Shane when
Yeah.
you get together,
Yeah.
and you have to have a disagreement. It is your version of paper, rock, scissors.
It's rock, paper, scissors.
It is your representation of muscling off, and it's a whole thing, Michael. Anyone who's ever spoken to us at a con when it's just Shane and Michael will often find themselves having to flex to get on the camera.
Ben, did you notice that when I was speaking to Superman, I became intimidated and started puffing out my chest?
He had a much more masculine physique than you, Michael.
I will crush you. I will crush you like the twig that you are.
You'll try. There's a representation, Michael, of
Look
the
at
kind of
that
thing
arm.
I'm talking about. Yeah, so he's called the Strong Arm Alchemist,
Yeah.
and he makes his alchemy work through flexing. So it's kind of a parody of many things, one of which is obviously the bodybuilding trend of the 1980s. Another is leather daddies, but he's also a very strong man, not afraid to show emotions.
Good.
And many characters have, or many fans, not unlike the last representational couple that we talked about, have guessed that he might be gay.
Oh, it's only a guess. He's not.
It's only a
he-
guess.
he's
Again,
not
it's an
gay.
ambiguously gay character.
To use your term, Ben, he's not gay in canon.
He's not gay in canon. Gick.
Ugh.
Yeah, it's not a good term, is
It's
it?
not like that.
No. But it was an interesting one for me, Michael. Did you have anybody else you'd like
Well,
to talk about
Ben,
before we finish up the pod?
There's a disappointing one, I suppose,
Okay.
which is throwing back to Albus Dumbledore.
Post-canon gay.
Post-canon gay, but then plenty of opportunity to make him in-canon gay, appearing as he does in Fantastic Beasts.
And we still wouldn't
Help me
bite
look
that
for them.
bullet.
And they still didn't go for it. So
I'm not sure, Michael, that's not an entire marketing strategy.
do you think he's going to be revealed to be gay in the next one, and that's the big twist?
I don't know if they're going to get a next one, Michael.
Oh, that's true. No, they will.
They might.
They will.
But what I mean by that is fans often love to create a furore around this character.
Mhm.
Every time Albus Dumbledore is not revealed to be gay,
Yeah.
the internet loses their shit
Just shows he's gay.
and talks about that film. So I think it's probably more representative of the toxic trope of queer baiting.
You love a trope.
That's a
don't you?
real thing.
Who else? When else have we seen queer? But I thought we were being positive today.
That is a thing. But we have talked about positive representations that aren't queer baiting.
Go on.
Because we're not necessarily going, oh, maybe.
Oh.
Nah, he's not. But we're not doing that. What we are doing when it comes to queer baiting is we're teasing the fans. Teasing the fans.
Okay, so you could apply that then as well to Valkyrie from the MCU.
You could apply it to this podcast.
Very good.
But
But you could apply it to Valkyrie from the
Yeah,
MCU because they're kind of
absolutely.
like, oh yeah, she's definitely probably a bit gay, isn't she?
And the thing is, fans take this and they run with it massively. There was a
That's
whole
interesting.
Subgenre of kind of fan comic where Thor is the god of lesbians. And he fully approves of Captain Marvel meeting Valkyrie because Captain Marvel is quite often shipped as gay also.
Yeah, but again, not a hint of it in the film.
Not really.
No, not
there's
a hint.
there's no romance subplot
Yeah.
in. There's no fancying Nick Fury, which
No.
again would be a bit of a stretch. But in
Very
terms
sex-
of
very
age
sexually,
difference,
sexual
very
man.
asexual man.
Oh,
Not
I said a very sexual man.
he's very shaft.
I suppose, yeah. I mean,
He's a very asexual character. There's no. He's get the job done. Bloody get the job
He
done.
has kids, doesn't he?
I think he does. I think he has kids in the Mark Millar Ultimate Universe way, in which Nick Fury's a bit of a dog. Nick Fury gets around, round. He gets around, bum, 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 bum. Ooh, ooh.
Unexpected.
Yeah, I didn't see that coming. But yeah, I think it's interesting to see how fans latch on to something and then really, really want that as representation. But then when they get a character that represents it in, I suppose, a non-aggressive way. So they're just casually gay. The casual gay trope. They don't necessarily latch onto that character. They want a character that's secretly gay. There seems to be a real thing of that with certain fan bases where
That's
they want
interesting.
to.
That's an interesting theory, Ben.
They want the character to be revealed
Right.
as
And
gay.
do you think that's gay people or straight people?
I think it's probably straight people.
That's interesting.
I think it's the ally culture of we stand with you,
That's interesting.
and we need that. I don't think gay people care that much.
Well, I don't know, Ben, if you can speak for all gay people.
No, I can. It's cool. I checked earlier. And yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I can't speak for all gay people, but I certainly don't think that an overtly gay character is anything that. Will you stop flexing in the tiny room?
Stretching.
Yeah, I have to admit, ladies and gentlemen, the biceps are looking good today.
Oh, thanks, Ben.
He's got a good flex going on.
What's going on?
Do you think Michael and I are gay? Let us know down below in the comments. Got him. Got them all. But yeah, I think in terms of representation, we're probably living in the golden age of representation, but I think the backlash we're facing to that is now our characters kind of have to be overtly gay.
The other thing is, Ben, the more you represent minorities,
Yes.
and like non-heterosexual people in society are a largish minority, but still a minority.
Still a minority.
But then
We're going to get bashed for that. We're going to get... Oh,
no, it's
we're getting doxed.
It's a statistical fact that
we're getting doxed.
that homosexual people are a minority,
Steady
a
on
large
now.
minority. But Ben, as minorities get more represented, then the minorities within minorities
Yeah,
are the ones who feel
left out, underrepresented.
There's no such thing. My main point here is I'm not saying people are complainers. I'm saying there's no such thing as perfect representation.
No, it doesn't exist.
Because for perfect representation to occur, you would have to have as many fictional characters as there are real people.
Which is tough.
Yeah, I mean,
I've never seen a dyspraxic superhero, Michael.
unwieldy.
I've never seen a dyspraxic superhero. One of the things that gets overlooked quite often is trans communities.
For example, we would struggle to do as in-depth, or not as in-depth, as broad an episode about trans representation. Although there was a trans character in the latest season of Jessica Jones, and handled very well.
Oh, good.
Not even mentioned.
Good. I would say that's great strides compared to The Invisibles, for example, where all the trans characters seem to be deviant. See, this is the problem with
Big cap
representation.
transsexuals.
I think when certain authors write their trans characters, something like that, they're always aggressively sexual or something like that, and they have to be this, whereas I don't think that's very representative of the trans community as a whole.
Have you seen the latest season of Jessica Jones?
I haven't yet.
Jessica Jones' assistant is a
good.
Is a transsexual lady.
Well, I like that. That's good. That's a good bit of representation there. Also, Saga, as you mentioned, has an excellent trans character in it.
Although saga is kind of about the tragic transsexual. It's a big defining part. Jessica Jones, the
The
character,
crucified transsexual.
Yeah.
The Saint Sebastian, if you will. The
Exactly.
Saint Sebastian
whereas
trope.
Jessica Jones is literally just her receptionist is a sassy character
Just happens
who's a
to be
transsexual,
trans.
and I don't think they ever mention it.
Good.
Yeah,
Good. That's the kind of representation I look forward
I
to.
looked up the actor. I said, "Oh, transsexual."
Oh.
Didn't know that.
There you go now. There you go now. He's down the pub telling everyone, do you know, I was watching Jessica Jones.
Jessica Jones there. Just I looked it up, and do you know what?
Fantastic model of representation in that show.
Just transsexual.
Transsexual. So, on that note, ladies and gentlemen, let us know if you think Michael and I have a strange, ambiguously gay duo thing going on down below in the comments. Do you have any favourite couplings?
I'm Ben's letter daddy.
Oh, God. Do you have any favourite ambiguously gay duos that you'd like to put in? Do you have
They
any?
don't have to be ambiguous, man.
I was just about to add to that.
Sorry.
Do you have any representation that you really enjoy in the show? More importantly,
Yeah, go on.
if you are one of our homosexual listeners or other defining listeners, how do you feel about representation in culture? Do you feel it's often shoehorned in? Do you feel that it's difficult
better,
to do?
getting worse.
And more importantly, what do you think is a realistic representation
Who's the best
of sexuality as you go along? Let us know down below.
Let us know.
Ladies and gentlemen, as always, we are on Seomra Beag Productions, SEOMA or ABEAG.com.
Yeah. Now, Ben, just I have a bone to pick with you here.
Oh,
This is for the Americans. We do have a few American listeners, Ben.
Amerikanskis.
Amerikanskis. If you pronounce if you say SEOM or A, they will go, God damn it, Ben, which one is it? Is it M or A? And that is not a joke. That is from experience of spelling things for Americans.
S.
Yeah.
E.
No. Just
M.
it's just
R.
it's just the Irish. Stop it. It's just
lightly.
yeah. I told you, I'm your leather daddy, Ben. It's the Irish thing of pronouncing the letter R as or that's causing the problem. So do it again. That's I'll spank you. Come on, stop laughing.
S.
Yes.
E.
Yes.
O.
Yes.
M.
Yes.
R.
Yeah.
BEAG.com.
It means small room in Irish.
You can find all of our content there. Stay tuned this Wednesday if you haven't had enough as this week, where we'll be taking a look at Bloodshot on our
Bloodshot
other
Reborn.
podcast, Collecting Issues, which will be out this Wednesday. We really would love to hear your thoughts on this one, so get in touch with us down below. Ladies and gentlemen, I have fictitiously been telling that you can listen to this podcast on your phone on iTunes. iTunes isn't on iPhones anymore. You now have to listen to it on your podcast app on your iPhone. Sorry about that, guys.
Same difference, though, isn't
only
it?
realised that. Same difference. Where you can do us a favour iTunes-wise is you can give us a review. A couple of more people have given us reviews on iTunes. We really appreciate it, and it does help us push the podcast to whole new heights. So we would love it if you
Also,
did that
Ben,
again.
bloody Google Podcast is pretty good, I have to say.
Yeah, you've been
if you
enjoying
say, Ben, if you just say, "Hey Google, play the latest episode of Michael and Benjamin's podcast,"
One of our phones is going to light up with a
it
bright
will
red
bloody
light.
do it. It's great.
Yeah, it's great. So try that. Give it a go. Give it a
it a
whirl.
go. Give
Take
it
a
a
video
lash.
of it. Put it up on YouTube. Tag us.
Don't, because then if you do that, then when other people's phones hear it, they automatically do it, and it becomes quite obnoxious.
It's great. Do it.
Great for listening.
Blast
for
it
us.
out on a loudspeaker
bus.
there. Yeah, can you imagine?
At Gay Pride.
At Gay Pride. So yeah. Anyway,
Right,
that's
see
it from us this
Yeah.
week. Hope you enjoyed the episode. Bye.
Bye. See ya.
Happy Pride.
Happy Pride, everyone. Bye.